Okay, I think we're live. How's it going, everyone? There we are. I'm looking to see that it's on my app. I'm trying to watch in real time. Hopefully, everything's working this time. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Mike the Vegas Guy. This is my June live stream, June update, whatever we want to call it. Trying to settle in on something better than just live stream. Like I've said in the past, I'm hopefully going to kill two birds with one stone, do a live stream, but also cover news and events this way instead of making individual videos on my channel for random news updates. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we're going to get more than 5 people watching at once than I had last time. That might be nice. That's the record, is 5 at one time. But I know many of you will watch later on. Thanks for tuning in for my May update last month. And hopefully, so you can tell me, you can chime in right away, folks. Let me know how the quality of this video is. I did my entire live stream last time thinking I was broadcasting in 1080p, and it was 720. Somehow my settings, there's 2 layers of settings I found out on the app that I use, software that I use for streaming. And the video and audio was terrible, in my opinion. No one complained of the people who were watching. But let me know, do I sound okay? Does it look better than 720, hopefully? Supposedly, it's telling me I'm in 1080p. I didn't pay enough for the 4K broadcast. Maybe if this channel starts doing better, I can afford the monthly subscription that allows me to broadcast in 4K, and hopefully that'll solve all the problems. But let's jump right into it here. I'm going to, first of all, let's cover old news. Now that I have one video out a month ago, I told you about a lot of the concerts that were coming in May. I ended up going to 2 of those concerts that I listed in the video, which I was not expecting to go to more than one of them. And I did make a short about this. It was a short. Didn't have my thoughts in order. But I'm going to recap the 2 shows I went to in May, while I'm assuming, dozens of you trickle in to the live stream, and you can start chatting if you want to. So I mentioned a bunch of concerts. I went to 2 in the same weekend. Last weekend, I went to see Josh Groban over at the Coliseum. And then I saw Tom Jones on Saturday night over at the Wynn. And I was not expecting, I was hoping to go to Tom Jones. That was sort of in my playbook already. I hadn't gotten my tickets. I don't get concert tickets too far in advance anymore these days. I never know when I'm going to be able to afford things. I'm hoping to go see some shows in June. At the end of this video, or towards the end of the stream, I'm going to cover a lot of the upcoming events in June, so stay tuned for that. But I was not planning to go see Josh Groban. I mentioned in my live stream, I didn't think he would sell very well. He's a big name. He certainly has a great following. He's incredibly talented. But as I mentioned, he was on Broadway, and even though he was very popular on Broadway, you could still get tickets. And I didn't know how well he would sell the Coliseum. Well, it turns out he did not sell out the Coliseum for 5 nights. As he was here for. He was 2 weekends. He did a Friday and Saturday, and then a Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday the following week. And the Wednesday of the second week, I got an email from Caesars. As you know, if you watch my reviews, I'm a Diamond member with Caesars. It's how I get a lot of my free hotel rooms. I always disclose that in my videos. They don't usually give out show tickets. It's been very rare lately, especially post-pandemic. They've really cut back on amenities for their Diamond guests. I got an email Wednesday, late in the run, offering me 2 free tickets to see Josh Groban, my choice of either the Friday or the Saturday, the final 2 shows of his run. So I jumped at the opportunity, took my night off of work. I said, I don't get an opportunity to get free tickets to a show at the Coliseum very often. So I went to see Josh Groban, and let me just, what am I doing here? There, so you know what I'm talking about, for those of you joining us. So Josh Groban, it turns out they didn't sell well. They started comping tickets to players, to locals. I found out when I got there they were not even selling the second balcony, the official balcony, not the mezzanine of the Coliseum. So it wasn't sold out, but it was certainly not a small crowd. They certainly got a lot of people in. Josh Groban definitely has a ton of his own fans who probably planned trips to Vegas around this. He did ask people in the audience, "Where are you from?" People from all over the world were here for him. So it was a great show. Don't get me wrong. He put on a great show. He made full use of all the bells and whistles of the Coliseum Theater, the trap door in the stage. He had his grand piano and choir that sang behind him rise up from the ground in the stage. Had the, plenty of animations on the board behind him. He also did a fun little closing bit of the show, which is, it's sort of become a weird thing in Vegas where if you have a residency at one of the big showrooms, you have to have some bizarre, epic closing number to your show where they make use of scenery and stuff. Adele would have Fire to the Rain in her show, and Carrie Underwood had this big water fountain thing she sang in and got soaking wet. It's become a trend. He sang Skyfall by Adele, an ode to Adele having been in the same theater, which is not one of his songs. He said he's never sung it before. And then they brought in a curtain, a scrim, I should say, and projected like a mountain image on the side of the scrim, and you could only see him. He went behind the scrim. He was climbing some stairs like he was climbing a mountain. And then at the last note, he fell backwards and fell off the mountain. I'm going to try and post a little video of that. I was leery about posting concert footage now that my channel is monetized. I used to do that. Also never got, like I said in my short that I made the night of when I did a little mini review on my channel. People don't watch those videos. When I would post any videos from a headliner concert, a one-night only concert especially, it maybe got a little view, a little bump the next morning, a couple hundred people would see it, and then just never get viewed again. So it's, I have to edit those, even if they're short. It takes some time to edit and publish, and if no one's gonna watch them, why am I doing it? I guess for posterity, because some of these shows will never be seen again. But I have the footage, I just am leery about putting all the work into editing a video for it. But definitely a fun show. I noticed that Josh Groban, this whole run at Caesars seemed to have been more of a launch party, more like not a stunt, but a promotional event to sell his latest album, which is a greatest hits album. The show was called Gems. That's the name of his album, his greatest hits album, Gems. So it was a night of all his hits. It was a night of all the songs he's famous for. He sang Bridge Over Troubled Waters and Raise You Up. You raise me up. Is that the... I'm not the biggest Josh Groban fan. Not that I dislike him. I'm not an obsessed fan. And he had some obsessed fans. He had some middle-aged ladies down in the expensive seats who were rocking out like it was a Stones concert, while a string section played a mellow show tune that he. It's just a weird vibe. He's such a low-key, really humble guy. You really felt like you got to know him in the show. He's really not full of himself at all. And I've been following him on social media in the last week or two since then, and he really enjoyed his time in Vegas. He and his girlfriend spent all their days off doing all the touristy things and posting videos and pictures of it. He's still been posting about the stay in Vegas, even though it's been over a week now. And he seemed to really enjoy it. So it seemed like more of a milestone moment for him, not necessarily... I think no one was expecting him to sell out 5 nights at the Coliseum. Certainly, he was over EDC weekend. I think that had to do with why the tickets got comped as well, because it was EDC weekend. All the hotel rooms are booked in Vegas, but the people aren't staying on the Strip. They're getting on buses and going out to the racetrack for EDC. So it's hard to book a hotel room and do other things if you're not going to EDC. And that's why I think a lot of other shows and attractions in town don't do as well on EDC week, even though people think technically it's a huge weekend, it's a big economic boom for the city. There are businesses that suffer when those things happen. But I digress. So Josh Groban was a lot of fun. I'm imagining he's not coming back to do a residency again at Coliseum. Although maybe a one night only. I think if he was just here for the one weekend, maybe he did a Friday and a Saturday, 2 nights only, he probably could have sold out both nights. But 5 nights in the span of 2 weeks was a little too big of an ask, I think. But still a great show. I'm glad I went. I don't know. The guy sitting next to me, I met this guy, struck up conversation with me, older gentleman. He was a player at the casino. He told me he spent $300 a ticket for him and his wife to go see Josh Groban. I felt really bad telling him I got a comp. But moving on, I went to see Tom Jones the next night over at the Wynn. He also did not sell out. There were some empty seats up in the... I bought the cheapest ticket in the balcony. I just wanted to go and say that I got to see Tom Jones. Vegas legend. I was a little too young when he was still playing regularly at the MGM Grand. I wasn't too young. My parents never took me to see him. And then he moved back to the UK and he stopped touring in the US for a while. And now he's 84 years old and he's going out on the road again. And I got to tell you, he's incredible. Puts on an amazing show. Just captivates the audience. He just... consummate entertainer who's done it so many times, knows the business. He's old and he's sitting on a stool half the time, and just sitting on a stool holding a microphone like this and entertaining and being incredible. You couldn't take your eyes off of him. He was just he knows how to hold an audience. I can't really explain it. There are clips online. I don't know. I might post some clips from the show. Maybe over on my Instagram, maybe not on the YouTube channel. So subscribe to my Instagram. Hey, we got 5 people watching. Can we... Oh, nope, just went down to 4. As soon as I said it. See if we can break the 6 barrier. And hello to Jose. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a rough day. My computer was not cooperating earlier. Wasn't connecting to the internet. I had to reboot. Didn't want to reboot. It was, but it's getting better now. Glad you're here. So, but back to Tom Jones. I got to tell you, first of all, I said I booked the cheapest ticket in the balcony, which was still over $100. But there is no bad seat at that Encore Theater. I mean, a fraction of the size of the Coliseum. It can't hold... I'd be shocked if there were 2,000 seats at the Encore Theater. It probably does hold it, but it feels intimate. Steve Wynn built that room to be like a Broadway theater, which if you've never been to New York, those are small theaters. You can sit in the last row and still feel like you're not far from the stage. This Encore Theater that they built, all of the seats are stadium-style seating. They are angled perfectly to create that illusion. I've talked about in some of my show reviews how some rooms just feel more intimate even though they hold a lot of people. This is one of those rooms. And the balcony, it's very steep, but you're actually not that far from the stage. I've seen a handful of shows from the balcony there. I bought the cheapest ticket I could, closest to the front row of the cheap tickets, all the way on the side. So I had the far side aisle of the balcony, about like 5 rows down from the back. Fantastic. I wouldn't complain about those seats. And there were, like I said, he didn't sell out. There were empty seats, and I even thought about moving over. And I was like, you know what? I got an aisle seat for my leg to, stretch out. I had a great view of the show. I stayed in my seat, even though I probably could have gotten closer to the center of the room because there were empty seats. So great views. I recommend, if there's somebody you want to see at the Wynn, at the Encore Theater, don't let the seating or the prices deter you. If get in the room, you'll enjoy the show. But I don't know what else I can say about Tom Jones. He did all the hits. He had an incredible band. Just someone, of his caliber. He can get the best musicians in the world. It was very blues heavy. It was like even his old pop hits were kind of had new, very bluesy feel to them. Just a real artist, really just aging gracefully, even though a lot of his older songs are ridiculous. Oh, and there were some old ladies who threw their panties up on stage at him during the show. And one who was in the balcony and thought she could reach the stage, but just managed to throw her panties over the balcony into the audience below. I'm hoping they were clean. They were just for show. I'm hoping that was just, at some point you bring I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But it happened. It was true to life. That actually still happens. It's got to be a caricature of itself now. I'm sure at one point, decades ago, organically, girls did that. And now it's just like, something you feel you have to do. And it's a caricature of itself. Tom Jones is not a caricature of himself. That's the interesting thing, is that his audience showed up for what they imagined in their head to be like the classic Tom Jones experience. And he came out and did whatever he wanted to do. He came out and did a very current, very modern blues show that happened to include a bunch of his hit songs. Incredible, just incredible. He's on the road right now, so if you're not living in Vegas watching this and he's coming to your city, go see him while you still can. Although he's doing great, and he said he intends to come back to Vegas. He said, we'll see you again. So maybe he's already got some dates booked for another stay at the Wynn. So if he comes back, go see him. All right, so let's jump into it. I've got some news. If you read the caption here beforehand, it says show closings. I've got some announcements. Some of these slipped by me. They're a little late, but I want to talk about them because they have to do with some videos I've already posted on my channel. I just learned that Ladylike over at the Virgin Hotel is closing this week, closing on Saturday the 31st. I have a review up on my channel. This show's been running for close to 2 years, a year and a half at least. I forget the date. It opened in 2023. And that was after it had had a run off the Strip, on actually closer to the Strip than it currently is. It's already off the Strip at the Virgin. It was at the, the name of that room escapes me. It's now a parking lot. It's now a part of that mall they're building next to not the fashion show mall, the Showcase Mall there, across from City Center. They, boy, that's going to bother me that I can't remember the name of that room. It was once the Tommy Wind showroom. Tommy Wind, the magician, leased it out and had a bunch of shows in there. And it was called something else after that. And that's when Ladylike opened. And as I mentioned in my review, it originally opened on a bigger stage in a more traditional theater setup. And the room that it's been in at Virgin, the 24 Oxford room, is too small. It's a bar with a stage in one end that's meant for rock concerts. It's meant for a band to play in a bar while people just hang out and drink. Not for theater, not for a production show with scenery. So I'm hoping that this closure is a good thing for everyone involved. I'm hoping that Ladylike is going to find another home, hopefully in a better showroom where they can do what they intended to do originally with this show, with scene changes and the production value. It really is a good show. And I said it in that review, it belongs on the Strip. I think if they can actually get themselves away from these off-Strip venues like the Virgin and just find a room in a Strip casino, I think that show will run forever. But we'll see. It sounds like, I know John Katz from the Review Journal reported on this. He indicated that this is a sign of the times with smaller shows having trouble getting audiences. I think any show at the Virgin is going to have trouble getting audiences. The Virgin Hotel itself, this is what, for those of you who might not know, this used to be the Hard Rock. It's on Paradise Road, 2 full blocks behind the Strip. And east of the Strip, if that means anything to you. And what was I saying? They've been struggling since it rebranded to the Virgin. They were leasing their casino operations out to the Mohegan Sun casino from Connecticut, and they recently broke ties with them, and they've created their own players club, and they've got their own casino operations going now, and now they're parting ways with Ladylike. I'm assuming that means they're going to repurpose that showroom, the 24 Oxford, which is a bar. Hopefully they realized it's going to make more sense for them to have live music there, just open it night to night, because having a production show like that in that room, taking up space, it prevents them from doing other things. So it's really suited for live music, and I hope that they go back to that, and I hope Ladylike finds a new home. Here's the next closing. There's another one the same day. Also, this is the last week to catch Illuminate at the Strat. This is one of those shows, it's like a dance show, sort of in the same vein as Jabberwockies. It's over at MGM Grand. It's more of a dance show / light show. They're all wearing costumes with light up, kind of like black suits with glow sticks on the front. I know that's really putting it mildly. It's a really entertaining show. I never got to go see it. I've heard wonderful things about it. I've seen them. I think it's the same group I saw on America's Got Talent. There's been variations on this. I did learn in the Review Journal article that there are other locations. This production company has several cities where they have productions of this show, and it sounds like they're just closing up shop in Las Vegas. So I don't know. Maybe they're looking for a new room. They've been over at the Strat. They were a part of kind of a rebrand of the Strat and the Strat showroom. Shortly after the pandemic, a production company came into their showroom, kind of took it over and put a bunch of shows. They had shows all day long. And one by one, each of those shows kind of closed, and I don't think they've replaced them with anything. They had, my favorite, Xavier Mortimer had his magic show in there. Banachek, world-renowned mentalist, very well-respected in the magic community. He had an afternoon show. The Illuminate was there. And the one show left, the only show still running, and apparently it's doing just fine, is Rouge, which is the adult show. It's an adult variety kind of circus show. It's by the same producers of WoW over at the Rio. According to Johnny Katz in the article he posted, that they're doing just fine. They're about to celebrate an anniversary there. Illuminate was there for 4 years. It was doing well. But it's another hotel that's not exactly in the middle of the action on the Strip. Certainly they get tons of tourist traffic because of the tower. People come from around the world. They come to Vegas. They want to go up to the top of the tower. And they sell a lot of hotel rooms that way as well. They also have usually good deals on hotels over at the Strat. So they kind of have a built-in audience for their shows, but it seemed like, the handful of shows I went to, I never got to see this one since the pandemic. They were never sold out. It always felt like it's a big showroom. It's a really good-sized, classic Vegas showroom with tables and chairs. And I've always loved that room. 20 years ago, they had shows all day long. They had a celebrity impersonator show. I think it was called American Superstars. And an afternoon show. I think it was called Viva Las Vegas. Anyone correcting me in the comments on that one? Thank you for reminding me. Terry Fader is now at the Strat. I knew there was something. Yes, Terry Fader moved to the Strat, so he's the headliner there along with Rouge. There isn't just Rouge there. Who said that? There we go. I'll put that up there. Thank you, Jose. Terry Fader did move over to the Strat. I guess I should go review his show at some point. It is a great room. I wonder if he's selling well, because he was just at a very small room It sounded like he wasn't doing too well over there. But I'll be curious to check out Terry Fader. So Illuminate is closing up shop. And this is not a June urgent closing, but I just learned about this. The Chippendales. This also ties in. I have a video about the Chippendales on my channel if you've seen it. I went at the very end of the year. I literally went 3 days before they ended up closing at the Rio. I had no idea. I was offered free tickets. That wasn't why. They had offered some players a free ticket offer for all of their shows, and I realized I hadn't used it. And I said, oh, wow, I should go see those shows, even though I had actually seen all of the shows at the Rio before this offer came out. I could go and get content. So I thought, this will be good. Chippendales will be a good show to get content for. I showed up. They said, take all the video and pictures you want. I said, great. And I left there. I went home. I started to do my research to make my video and found out quickly they were closing 3 days later and moving to the Link, to the Matt Franco Theater. So I made a little video about that saying, I guess I'll have to come back and review it again. And I said in that video, I don't know how well they'll do at the Matt Franco Theater. It's considerably larger than the room they were at already. They didn't seem to be doing great business over at Rio. And it turns out that's come to pass. They are, according to the Review Journal, only selling about 100 tickets a night, and the Matt Franco Theater is a 500-seat room. But Johnny Katz also announced that they plan to be moving, so they're going to be closing at the end of June, I think June 30th. I forgot to write it in my little notes here, didn't I? Just said moving. End of July, excuse me. That's why. It's not a June, actually a June story. They're moving at the end of July, July 31st. It hasn't been officially confirmed, though. So this is John Katsilometis of the Review Journal, kind of reporting on things he's been told privately, but not officially confirmed by Caesars Entertainment. Because at the time, I thought it was Caesars winning back the Chippendales, and they're staying with Caesars. So supposedly they are moving to what Johnny Katz called the Sin City Theater at Planet Hollywood. For those of you who might remember, the Sin City Theater was this little third-party, four-wall deal cabaret theater that was on the second level. It's kind of across the hall from the Criss Angel Theater. It's near their convention space, actually. That theater no longer exists. If you go there right now and take the escalator up to the Criss Angel Theater, look to your left, you'll see the Criss Angel Theater. To your right is just an empty big lobby, and there is zero trace of what used to be the Sin City Theater. It has been completely boarded up, magnificently boarded up. I went there and I honestly couldn't picture where it was supposed to be. I knew I'd been to that theater many times, and you can't even figure out, there are no doors there anymore. Where the doors are just boarded up. So it sounds like Chippendales are going to take over that space and run it themselves, because the Sin City Theater does not exist. The Sin City Theater was a privately owned company, and they rented out that space from Planet Hollywood. They were a victim of the Caesars showpocalypse that I've talked about on my channel many times, where they just kicked a bunch of the third-party four-wall deals out post-pandemic. And I'm assuming Chippendales are going to completely renovate it, run it as their own venue. It will probably be called the Chippendales Theater, just like they had over at Rio. So I'm honestly wondering if maybe just Matt Franco was always a placeholder for them before they could build their own space, because it never made sense to be in such a large showroom for them. But it did make sense that Caesars Entertainment, who did have Chippendales in their portfolio for years when they owned and operated the Rio, that they wanted Chippendales back. So I can't imagine Chippendales is going to go out of business. I can't imagine that it's because they're not selling well. I'm sure they're doing good business, but it sounds like they are finally finding their own space and getting to recreate the same kind of operation that they had over at Rio, where they had their own venue and ran the show themselves. So I think there's some inside baseball going on with that topic. Maybe they'll perform on the outside of the boarded up area. Yeah, no. There is plenty of room. They could build an entire showroom in that giant empty chunk of real estate in front of that theater. So let's go on to some openings. Oh, hey, we got 7 people. 7 of you are watching now. Thank you so much. We broke the record. Feel free to say hi in the comments. 6. We dropped down to 6. Oh, well. It's not a competition. So let's move on to the June concerts and events. If you're keeping track, I've got a handful of shows I want to talk about. I can't possibly list every concert and event happening throughout the month, but these are the kind of one night only shows. But before that, I have an attraction that's opening up that I feel like it hasn't been getting a lot of press lately. Tom Brady is opening the Tom Brady Hall of Excellence at Fontainebleau. And I forgot, let me look up. I need to look up the prices, because the most exciting thing about this, the prices are really reasonable. Let's see, Tom Brady Hall of Excellence, $35. $35, $20 for kids, $5 discount for Nevada residents, seniors, and military. It's basically a self-guided sports memorabilia attraction. I don't know, it might be small. Maybe it's going to be just a quick little storefront somewhere in Fontainebleau. But he's promoted it a bit. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of very, famous sports memorabilia, his own rings. He's, of course, now a part owner of not only the Las Vegas Raiders, but also the Las Vegas Aces. So supposedly there's going to be Raiders and Aces memorabilia there, and just other historical artifacts from the history of sports. But $35 full price for an attraction. I don't know who needs to hear this. Rather, I know exactly who needs to hear this. But that's how much a walk-in attraction in Vegas should cost. $35, not $55 or $65 or $75 like some of these walk-through attractions are charging these days. I won't name names, but and I doubt they're watching. But I'm putting this out into the universe. $35 to $40 is a perfect price for a self-guided tour. And I grew up in New England. My family's from New England. Grew up a Patriots fan. Also, Tom Brady's associated with the Raiders. I love the Raiders. Been here. I've been in Vegas longer than the Raiders have, so I've embraced the Raiders as our new hometown team. But I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to go see some of that stuff, and maybe I can get in on the ground floor and maybe be there on opening day. So that's June 20th. Let's get into some of the concerts. Rod Stewart is continuing his post-farewell residency at Caesar's Palace. I think he's calling it the Encore shows or something like that. He's already there. I felt bad for Josh Groban. Rod Stewart was up on the marquee at Caesar's Palace during Josh Groban's run at Caesar's Palace. Caesar's is one of the last resorts that still has some form of a permanent marquee. They have a digital marquee. They have the big digital one that's in front of the Forum Shops, and they still have their older marquee from the, I think it's from the Coliseum expansion days. There's a digital portion, but below it is still like a vinyl poster board sign, usually for whoever's headlining at the Coliseum. And Rod Stewart's advertisement was up there even though Josh Groban was there that night for 2 weekends. So I felt bad for Josh. He didn't get his picture on the marquee, but he had digital ads everywhere, so he got his name up in lights still. But so Rod Stewart's there now and through June 8th. Also next weekend, well, 2 weekends from now, Coldplay, 2 nights at Allegiant Stadium. Trying to cover these touring concerts, the big, we've got a lot of summer concert tours coming through town, so I can't list all of them, but that's a big deal. 2 nights at Allegiant Stadium. If they can sell out a football stadium 2 nights in a row, good for them. A personal favorite of mine, I'm really excited for this. The one and only Weird Al Yankovic is coming to the Venetian. He is kicking off his new tour with a 2-week engagement at the Venetian. He's done this before, like 10 years ago. He kicked off one of his tours at Planet Hollywood with a run, and he's been to his last tour. He came to the Venetian and did 3 nights in the same theater at the Venetian. So he must have a good working relationship with the folks over at Venetian. And this time it's for 2 weekends. And kicking off his tour, it's called the Bigger and Weirder Tour. He's going back to doing more of a theatrical show. He had scaled it back to doing a really low-key, just him and his band doing their B-sides, doing not the hit parodies, but all of his original music, which was still well-attended, drew huge numbers. And he started touring with an opening act. He had Emo Phillips with him during that tour. This time he is going out with Puddle's Pity Party as his opening act. So that's kind of exciting. Another kind of, nerdy comedy act to fit the nerdy audience of Weird Al. And this time he's also, supposedly, if I got this right, he's touring with backup singers and a horn section, which he never used to do. He always had the same 4-piece band that he toured with. He did 1 tour with an orchestra on stage. He did have his backup singers. He has 3 backup singers who've been with him for years, singing on all of his albums. They actually went on tour. I'm assuming those 3 are coming with him on this tour. I could be wrong, but only 4 of you are watching, so who cares? But I'm really excited to see that. Tickets, regular price tickets are sold out. The scalpers have gotten to this, and there are plenty of seats on StubHub. There are seats available on Ticketmaster through their verified resale crap. This breaks my heart a little. I really, the scalpers and sites like StubHub are directly responsible for everything that's wrong with the ticketing world today. They, 60 Minutes? It was either 60 Minutes or CBS Sunday Morning did a really great piece a few weeks ago on ticket scalping and the resale market. Go look that up. It's really eye-opening. Covers everything that I don't have time to say right now, but look that up because it's important information. And so I am hoping to go see Weird Al. I don't have my ticket yet. I hemmed and hawed, didn't want to spend the money, and now they're all overpriced. So I'm hoping I can play the waiting game and get a decently priced ticket from one of these scalpers who's hoping to get more and cheating people out of money. It should be a crime. But moving on, that same weekend as Weird Al, the Pixies are over at the Wynn Resort. You can book your whole vacation around going to see the Pixies one night and Weird Al the next. That's going to be a busy weekend. The New Kids on the Block are starting their residency, quote-unquote residency, at Park MGM, June 20th through the 28th. They've played Vegas in the past. They keep showing up. Brace yourself if you buy tickets to that show. If you've never been to a New Kids, I've still never seen the New Kids on the Block, but I did see Joey McIntyre. Joey McIntyre did a little residency with Debbie Gibson, who lives in Vegas, over at the Venetian a few years back. And I and a friend of mine were Debbie Gibson fans. I've always known Joey McIntyre, known New Kids. I grew up with them, so I was excited that they were doing a show together. They're good friends. The New Kids on the Block fans bought up all the tickets, took up all the space, made so much noise, shouted such obscene things at the stage. Grown women throwing themselves at Joey McIntyre. It was sometimes disturbing. It was. I say he put on a great show, and poor Debbie had her fans were a small minority against the New Kids on the Block fans that were there just to see Joey McIntyre. I can't imagine what the atmosphere is like to see all of them, Marky Mark included. No, I don't know if Marky Mark's going to be. He's, what's the brother's name who's in the band? I don't care. I'm putting the, I'm trying to make conversation. I'm not going to see New Kids. Anyway, I'm just telling you I had a brush with one New Kid, and it was too much for me. Those fans are crazy. I know some personally, no offense, if you're one of the New Kid fans watching this, but calm down. Calm down, you New Kid people. And last but not least, at the end of the month, Shakira is bringing her tour to Allegiant Stadium on June 28th. One night only. I think it's one night only. My research was weird. But that's kind of a big deal. I'm a millennial. We got the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s acts coming up. And I didn't even mention it. Speaking of which, Ricky Martin just announced a new residency later in September, I believe. I'll cover that as we get closer to the fall. But, if you're like me and you watch TRL religiously back in the day, Shakira is a bucket list show. So I'd love to get into that. We'll see. Those are my picks, I would say. There's a bunch of other concerts happening. And Barry Manilow's still doing his residency. He is also here in June. He's not here every single month. He does on average, I'd say he does 2 weekends a month, but sometimes they're overlapping a little, and sometimes he takes extended time off. But I still haven't been to see his show and review his show. He sort of falls into a weird category between headliner residency and actual resident show in town, because he does, even though his number of shows is low, he spreads them out evenly throughout the year pretty much. And he's been doing more shows than usual in the last year or two. He's sort of doubled down with the Westgate over there. So I'm hoping to do a video review of Barry Manilow sometime. But if you're not here in June, you should be able to see him again later in the year. So that was all of my updates. I want to thank the one of you who commented. I've been reading your comments. Jose, thank you for showing up. You're a Coldplay fan, I guess. I've not been a huge Coldplay fan my whole life. They're okay. They're a legend. I'm sure someday, when they're Tom Jones age, I'll be saying, "Oh, bucket list, go see Coldplay once." But U2 fan, I do enjoy U2. They're doing their I did notice in my research that concert footage show of their residency at the Sphere is going to be shown again this summer at the Sphere. I've still never gone to the Sphere. They charge too much just to see a 1-hour movie. And on principle, I feel like I don't want to go and spend the money. They should at least do something for locals. I heard someone say they're working on this new Wizard of Oz reimagined for the Sphere, and I heard someone on the internet said that it would be quote unquote affordable for locals. We'll see how that goes. If they can't charge a ticket under $50 to let average people be able to go see, they have 17,000 seats, and they want to show a movie on a daily basis. there are always empty seats for these movies. They don't even sell huge sections of the theater. I don't know what their goal is. Take our money. We'll pay if you give us a discount. You saw U2 at the Sphere or the film? Yes, Sphere and Affordable will never click, unfortunately. I don't know why. They have plenty of seats. If you have, I've said this before on my channel, if you have empty seats, your ticket prices are too high. You're losing money if you have a seat to fill. Any theater, any venue makes money even if you comp a ticket and someone comes in and buys a drink, buys merchandise. Yeah, sure, some people will take the gamble and they won't spend a dime, but on average, when shows, take the hit financially on the ticket price, they make it back on the back end. And especially because you might gain customers from locals who enjoy it so much, they'll be willing to spend a little more the next time if the experience is that good. You saw the film, the U2 film. I've heard it's incredible. I've heard it's impressive. And I do intend to go one of these days. But I would like to see that Wizard of Oz thing. But if it's over $100, I can watch it at home. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up here. We've, once again, only about a 45-minute long. I guess that's my natural time limit for my... I didn't actually try to time it, but that's about how we worked out the last time. Of course, if more people were chatting, we could have a whole conversation. But thank you for those of you who have been watching live. Thank you for those of you watching in the future. I know many of you will tune in later on. So leave a comment if you have any thoughts about any of the shows I talked about. Do you think Chippendales are going to do okay moving into that weird venue over at Planet Hollywood? And I hope good luck to Ladylike. I think they deserve better in this city. So I hope that they will survive their change of venue. Stay tuned. I've got some videos coming up this week. I've got a special video I'm going to be doing on the channel. I'm trying to get into more how-to videos. I'm going to talk about the smoking laws and regulations in Vegas because I had some people visit and they were telling me, well, I didn't know you could just smoke inside. That doesn't, people are shocked. People who don't smoke come to Vegas and seem surprised to learn that there are smoking is legal in a lot of places. So I'm going to cover that. I'm going to explain what the rules actually are and dive into that. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of unique content does on this channel. I'd appreciate if you would look at that and hit the like button when that comes out. And I've got 3 hotel reviews now in the footage is in the can, and 2 show reviews. And that smoking video, so I've got over a month and a half of content just waiting for me to edit. So I'll be working on that. Stay tuned for that. Thank you all for liking and subscribing. And thanks for tuning in. Until next month, I'm Mike the Vegas Guy. How do I shut this off?